circumstances took place a moment earlier. It was 4th and 11 for the Falcons, trailing the usual Western Division champions, the Los Angeles Rams. Bartkowski set his sights on Alfred Jackson and connected for a touchdown that brought Atlanta of age and set the city on its ear. Down in Texas, they have been on their feet, and deservedly so, for a remarkable Dallas Cowboy franchise. In the playoffs 14 out of 15 times. One reason this year, the running of Tony Dorsett. Hi, everybody. I'm Vin Scully, along with George Allen. Two extremely even teams. George, how do you see it going in?
Well, Vin, I think it's a dead even game, as you say. The only difference is that Dallas has playoff experience. They've been in a lot of big games, and that could give them an edge.
Talking about experience, I don't know anybody who has coached, managed, and played against Tom Landry longer than George Allen.
Well, he likes to do something different in a big game. I wouldn't be surprised, Vin, if he puts in some gadget, a reverse, a quick screen, or something to cut down on that pursuit by the Falcon defense. Those young linebackers swarm all around.
What about Lehman Bennett and the Atlanta Falcons?
Well, Lehman Bennett and the Falcons are going to throw deep on the Dallas corners. They're going to go deep and try to get the home run.
Well, they said that Dallas was going to be rebuilding this year. They're here with a 12-4 record. They said the Atlanta Falcons were not a factor. They were coming off a 6-10 record last year, and they're here. Are they ever? They go head-to-head. And with that, let's go down to the field. Down on the field, Fred Silva ready to flip the coin.
Who's going to call in the air, please? Tails is called. Heads is thrown.
So the Atlanta Falcons have won the toss, much to the delight of this highly partisan crowd. It's a sellout here, naturally, at Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium, as you see Lehman Bennett, recently proclaimed NFC Coach of the Year. He was Coach of the Year back in 1977. On the other side, Tom Landry, one of the most successful coaches in history, the third winningest coach in history. Only George Halas and Curly Lambeau have won more games than Tom Landry. Landry has won 184. Raphael Septien will be kicking off for the Cowboys. The Atlanta Falcons, an excellent offensive team, and at the start of the season, they were the second youngest team in the NFL. Only Kansas City, a younger ball club. It is a very exciting team. In its 4 defeats this year, it lost in overtime to the Rams. It lost in the last 25 seconds to Minnesota. It lost with 32 seconds to go to Miami. And it lost with a minute and a half left against the Jets. Going deep right now is Mike Smith. And Raphael Septien ready to kick it off. And Mike Smith will take it on the 1, to the 10, to the 20, lunging to about the 22-yard line. And that's where the Falcons will put it in play. Let's take a look at that brilliant offensive line. Mike Henn, Dave Scott, Jeff Van Note, R.C. Thielman, and Warren Bryant. Bartkowski at the wheel, the running backs, and a great tandem they are, Andrews and Kane, with Francis Jenkins and the young tight end, all rookie Junior Miller. The 1st and 10 Falcons in the first offensive series of the day. Second man is Lynn Kane, trying to get a block from William Andrews, but they stack him up. In looking at the Dallas Cowboys, here is Ed Jones, Larry Cole, Randy White, and Harvey Martin up front. Guy Brown playing for the injured Mike Hegman, along with Bob Brunig and D.D. Lewis, with Barnes, Mitchell, Waters, and Thurman. A note, too, as you look at Guy Brown playing for Mike Hegman, in 27 postseason games, no individual player has ever gained 100 yards rushing against Dallas in a postseason game. Not much as they move it out across the 25. George, so far they are playing very conservative.
Yes, I expected that, Vin, to start out conservatively. They like to run the ball on the first down and set up the play action. Bartkowski loves the play action after the run.
let's get into Bartkowski's helmet and find out what he thinks about going against Dallas. We posed that question to him before the game.
They need to control their front four. They've got a heck of a pass rush, and their cornerbacks have been as good as their pass rush, I think, basically. They're great when they're getting a super pass rush, and they're not so good when they don't get the rush. But that's pretty much the way it is in this league. If you get a quarterback, any quarterback trying to throw in this league, he's going to complete some footballs.
That's Lynn Kane being knocked out of bounds after picking up the first down. Lynn Kane, who rushed for over 900 yards this year, only twice did he rush for more than 20 yards, but when they get down close, they use Andrews to block for him. He has 8 touchdowns.
Ben, I think this is the best tandem in football. Kane and Andrews is comparable to Muncie and Galbraith. This is the best offensive backfield that I've seen in the NFL.
Well, it is 1st and 10 Falcons on the Atlanta 38-yard line. In motion was Wallace Francis. Bartkowski going wide to William Andrews, but no good, and that's Guy Brown right there with Andrews, and he figures to be tested, George.
He will be. He hasn't played very much. He only had 10 tackles on the special teams. It'll be interesting to see his reaction on the run and when they get him one-on-one on a pass.
This is his first start of the year and only the second of his career. His other start was against the Giants in 1979. So it is 2nd and 10. The ball is on the Atlanta 38 in the early going. Alfred Jenkins goes wide right, and they have Wallace Francis wide left. Andrews and Kane behind Bartkowski. And on a draw, up the middle goes the big back. And he's across the 40 as Andrews, and we'll see where they spot it, whether he made enough for the first down.
You know, Ben, Andrews had such powerful legs. If you tackle him around the thighs, you just bounce off. You have to cut his legs out from underneath him. You have to hit him right around the shoe tops to bring him down.
You know, Dallas said they thought he weighed about 225 pounds, and looking at him in game films, he actually weighs only 200, but it's a very hard 200.
Yes, and they list him at 6 feet. He's probably 5'11", so that makes him about a 215-pounder. But going back to this backfield of Kane and Andrews, the reason they're so good is that they both block. They complement each other. They both are good receivers, and they both have enough speed and moves to give the defense a problem.
Well, we'll see about the defensive problem on a 3rd and 1 for Atlanta on the Atlanta 47-yard line. James Mayberry is blocking outside Junior Miller, the tight end on the right side. It'll be the second man. That's they stack him up. Benny Barnes came up to meet him. From our angle, it would appear as if he made it. And he did. First down, Atlanta.
Well, this is a sound play. They got the good blocker, Andrews, leading the play, and Kane going over the top. That's what they like to do down the goal line. That's why Kane has 8 touchdowns. They like to let the blocker block and the runner run.
The only better tandem in the NFL was Rob Carpenter and Earl Campbell, but of course Campbell had a bunch of yards. So 1st and 10 on the Atlanta 49. Bartkowski's going to put it up. Ed Jones can't get him. Bartkowski's pass, no good. Intended for Alfred Jenkins, just did go off his hand, and defending was Benny Barnes.
And Ben, that is exactly what we talked about at the top of the show. Bartkowski is a bomber. He's got the strong arm. He's going to test Barnes and Mitchell deep on first down. Actually, he has them open. The ball's overthrown.
You know, Bartkowski threw at least 1 touchdown pass in 15 of the 16 regular season games. The only team to shut him out, the New York Jets, way back in October. So it is 2nd and 10 on the Atlanta 49. Alfred Jackson is wide right as he just comes into the game. Bartkowski down the left side. He has Junior Miller, the tight end. He's inside the 30, out of bounds at the 25 of Dallas.
And you know, Ben, with Junior Miller in there, that's like having a 3rd wide receiver. Junior Miller, number 80, has the speed to go deep. He runs a 4.5, 5.40, and he's real good at running after the catch. 6'4", gives him a big target.
So Junior Miller, who had 9 touchdown receptions, he's a Pro Bowler, picks up the first down on the pass. Russ McKiska, the other tight end, will come in and replace him. You know, with the exception of tight end, the Falcons have started the same offensive lineup in every game this year. Another reason why they're here. So 1st and 10 on the Dallas 25. Jenkins and Francis in a slot right, but they'll go with Andrews. And Andrews down to the 20-yard line. So a big pickup of 5 to make it 2nd and 5.
Let's take a look at McKeska, 87 blocking on Guy Brown. Pretty good block. He gets to his knees, drives him back. And Andrews has a low center of gravity, Ben, and those powerful thighs, he's always going forward. Good leg action.
2nd and 4. The ball on the 20-yard line with Francis and Jenkins in a slot right. Andrews is the fullback in this I formation, the up back. And Bartkowski looking right, then going deep down the middle. No good.
Oh.
Alfred Jenkins had it and couldn't hold on to it. Dennis Thurman and Benny Barnes there to defend.
Then 2 things. Bartkowski had the time to throw. He unloaded once, wound up. Watch there. Plenty of time to throw. This should have been a touchdown. Right in his hands. He let the ball go through his hands into his body. Dallas can't give him that much time to throw.
So on a 3rd and 4 from the 20-yard line, Atlanta has Jenkins and Francis go right. Jackson goes left, and Junior Miller, the tight end, is shaken loose off the line of scrimmage. Bartkowski is looking over Miller's head, intended for Jenkins, and he threw behind him as he tried to find a seam between Thurman and Barnes.
That's right. Jenkins wasn't looking for the ball. Bartkowski got rid of it before he wanted to.
So on this 4th down, it'll be a field goal attempt by Tim Mazzetti. With the ball spotted on the 20, the hold will be at the 27. So it'll be about a 37-yard field goal. From 30 or less, he has kicked 20 out of 30 in his career. He does not have a strong leg, and he's been bothered by a groin pull.
That's right, and this is a big play for the Falcons.
James spotting it at the 28. The snap and the kick. It's good. Well, the Eagles, they fly high in Mobile and in Philadelphia, and the Falcons are off the ground in Georgia. 9 minutes and 39 seconds left in the 1st quarter. The Atlanta Falcons 3, Dallas nothing. Was raised in Brazil. Of all people, the Dallas Cowboys has just kicked a 38-yard field goal, and the Atlanta Falcons are leading 3-0. And now Dallas will get its hands on the ball. Standing deep and ready to do some returning. Normally for the Cowboys, we've seen James Jones do the running, but Timmy Newsome is deep, and there is James Jones in the middle. Steve Wilson is on his left. And Mazzetti's kick is low and will hit and go down and be fielded by Bruce Huther, and he gives the ball to Newsome, who is drilled out of bounds at about the 22. Earl Jones, number 20, down there to make the tackle. Let's take a look at the Cowboys offensively. Donovan, Scott, Shaw, Rafferty, and Cooper up front. Danny White with Tony Dorsett and Robert Newhouse, the running backs. Tony Hill, Drew Pearson, and the tight end, Billy Joe Dupree. 1st and 10 on the Dallas 22. The Dallas Cowboys, 14 times in the last 15 years they've been to the playoffs. The only wild card team to go to a Super Bowl, but they lost to Pittsburgh in Super Bowl 10. Danny White with Drew Pearson in motion. Play action fake to Dorsett, and Danny's going for the bomb on the first play to Tony Hill, and he overthrows him. Tom Pridemore and Kenny Johnson right there with him.
You know, Ben, a fine call by Landry. Good execution. Tony Hill slipped on the grass a little bit. Not enough to fall down, but that ball was right on the button. He just lost his balance a little bit as he was trying to run the fly pattern. He was open for a big play.
Oh, it is 2nd and 10, Dallas. In the early going, 9:22, Tony Dorsett ready to handle the ball for the first time. Drew Pearson in motion, picked up by Bob Glazebrook, and Dorsett bangs into Don Smith, who buries him. We had asked Tony Dorsett about running on grass before the game, and this was his answer.
Well, actually, I prefer running on natural grass. I think it's, as far as my style is concerned, I've heard a lot about it here since coming here yesterday also that, you know, Tony Dorsett can't run on grass. I think I'm going to surprise a lot of people today. I think I can run on anything that we can play on.
Well, we'll see now about Atlanta trying to stiffen on a third down, almost 9 for the Cowboys. And out of the shotgun comes Danny White. White going to the right side, knocked in the air, juggled and dropped. Roland Lawrence had both hands on it as he took it away from Tony Hill, but he couldn't hold it. And there was a savage hit. Fulton Kuykendall really drilled a Cowboy, and that Cowboy has been knocked out of his saddle, and it is Tony Dorsett.
Well, here it is. The Falcons come with a 4-man rush. I think that's a must today. They run a stunt. Dallas picks it up, gives them the time. The ball's a little high. Dorsett probably should have had it. It's deflected. And very fortunately, it was not intercepted by Lawrence. Tony Hill jarred the ball loose before Lawrence could put it away.
And as you can see in the picture, you see Kuykendall and Buddy Curry, 2 of the linebackers, sandwiching, and Al Richardson also in there. So Dorsett severely shaken up. And on a 4th down play, Dallas will have to punt once Tony can get back on his feet.
Well, Ben, these young linebackers, these Falcon linebackers are hitters. They swarm around the ball carrier or the receiver like a bunch of hornets. They're all over the place. Somewhere along the line, Landry will do something to counter that, run a gadget, run a reverse to take them out of pursuit.
Danny White has had opponents return his last 10 punts for a combined total of only 16 yards. He's been brilliant. Kenny Johnson standing on the Atlanta 30-yard line. And White drills it high. There's a flag on the play, and the ball is caught by Bob Glazebrook at the 40-yard line. And let's see about the interpretation of the flag. By the way, the officials today, 174 years of officiating experience, 101 in the NFL. With referee Fred Silver, umpire Pat Harder, and you can see Tony Viteri, Ted Hantak, Stan Javi, Dean Look, Don Orr, and Frank Glover. Well, the umpire, in this instance, Pat Harder, bringing that ball back. And Dallas has Danny White ready to punt again. They will mark off 5, but they still have another 3 for a first down.
Defensive holding. Number 20 before the kick. Automatic first down.
If that would have been during the kick, the ball would have been turned over.
Right. It was not a change of possession foul. The foul was called before the kick. Consequently, Dallas gets a gift and a first down. 1st and 10 on the 29. Tony Hill and Drew Pearson go left. Billy Joe Dupree comes back as the tight end. The report on Dorsett, wind knocked out of him. He will be back. And it'll be Robert Newhouse running into red shirts. And they stack him at about the 30-yard line. Well, he might have purchased another yard.
You know, Vin, this Atlanta defense was 3rd against the run. Nobody ran too much against them.
Here are the men. Jeff Yates, and when he's healthy and playing, it's very hard to rush. In the 2 games he missed, opponents rushed for 195 for the Jets, 256 by the Rams. In the 14 he played, they gave up only 84 yards on the ground. Don Smith and Jeff Merrill, the other 2 of that strong up 3. Go to 2nd and 9 from the 30. Drew Pearson in motion on just about every play, picked up by Bob Glazebrook. Newhouse stayed in to block for White, and the pass is complete. But boy, what a price. Dorsett belted at the 34-yard line by Buddy Curry.
You very seldom see one man in an attack with those Falcon linebackers. There's 2 and 3. They're all over the place, and they're ready hitters. Buddy Curry, 2nd-round pick. What a choice he's turned out to be. They send all, there's 2 men on him. They send all the signals into Buddy Curry.
There they are, the fearsome four of Richardson, Kuykendall, Curry, and Joel Williams. And on a 3rd down and 4, Dallas, having been given a break on a holding penalty against Atlanta, still trying to keep the ball as Pearson in motion, running through the shotgun. Preston Pearson is in there as a safety valve, but the pass is dropped by Kenny Johnson. He had that interception intended for Tony Hill and couldn't hold on to it.
The ball sailed. A good strike, a good throw. He had him open. What? There's the shotgun snap to Danny White. And the ball is high. The ball sails a little bit. Kenny Johnson has it right in his hands.
You know, an interesting thing during the regular year, Atlanta had 26 interceptions, 16 of those interceptions by rookies.
That's fantastic. It shows you the quality of those rookie players, Vin.
Well, Danny White will try to punt again. Remember, the last time it was nullified by the holding penalty, and again Kenny Johnson goes back to the Atlanta 25. Only one of White's last 30 punts have been returned for 10 yards or more. Johnson backing to the 4, spun around, and he's not going to get back. Well, Johnson unable to get it to the 20-yard line, and you can see why Danny White's punting has been remarkable. Only a 12-yard return by Oakland's Ira Matthews is any kind of a return against him this year.
And he had a 4.9 hang time on that kick. Excellent.
6 minutes and 31 seconds left in the first quarter. Atlanta leading Dallas 3-0. Atlanta's first drive, they started on their own 24, and it was capped on a 38-yard field goal. Now they will start on their own 20 as Alfred Jenkins goes wide right. Alfred Jackson goes wide left. And it's Andrews and Kane with Francis in motion. Andrews getting out to about the 25-yard line. If they spot it there. And on the sideline, Tony Dorsett, evidently okay, visiting with Robert Newhouse, which is certainly good news for Dallas.
I think he just got the wind knocked out of him. Then on that last play that the Falcons just ran, they liked Andrews on 1st and 10. And it's a pick-a-hole play. He'll run off tackle, he'll run up the middle, he'll run wide. He does a good job of reading his blockers.
Jenkins goes left, and Francis goes right. And it's a draw to Lynn Kane, and Kane is out across the 30 to the 35. Flag on the play. Well, we'll see the interpretation. That would be enough for a first down. And it is a first down.
So far, Bartkowski has hurt the Dallas defense twice on 2nd down and 7+ with draws. Picked up good yardage. Good time to run a draws on 2nd down and long.
So they move it out to the Atlanta 36-yard line where it is 1st and 10. Jenkins wide right in motion as well as Francis. He's picked up by Aaron Mitchell. Bartkowski is going to throw to Francis, and Mitchell, who is with him, takes him out of bounds. A question, George.
Yeah.
Aaron Mitchell was picking him up. What is the coaching philosophy about motion?
Well, we always spent a lot of time defense in motion. Then I didn't want to have our defense not know who to cover or who is going to force on motion. The big thing is you're trying to get a one-on-one situation. You're trying to isolate somebody so that you've got a faster man against a slower man, and you're trying to bother the force.
So that's what they were doing there. They were pinning Francis on Aaron Mitchell.
And it makes you call audibles on defense.
So they picked up 4. It is 2nd and 6 on the 40-yard line. Andrews is the fullback. Play action fake to Kane. Charlie Waters coming on a blitz. And the pass smothered as Harvey Martin came in to knock it down.
Well, that shows me something there, Ben. The Falcons are a heck of a team on 1st and 10. I always felt that when we played Dallas, we had to throw 50% of the time on 1st and 10 because they're in that flex defense. They don't rush as well. We also had to be effective running, but if we didn't throw 40 to 50% of the time on 1st and 10, we were in trouble. Now here,
Guy Brown
and Charlie Waters, 41, rushing the passer, which shows good preparation on Dallas's part.
3rd and 6 on the Atlanta 40-yard line. Bartkowski with Andrews flaring, and he's going to go deep down the left side to Jenkins. Jenkins is going to go touchdown. Aaron Mitchell was beaten. as you said.
Then I don't want to keep repeating this, but I said this twice. Bartkowski's going to go deep and work on the corners, Mitchell or Barnes, with his wide receivers, and there it is. His offensive line is giving him the protection to throw. This guy led the entire NFL 18 yards a catch.
Jenkins had only one 100-yard game this year, despite the fact he had over 1,000 yards in pass reception. He just burns Aaron Mitchell and the Cowboys. It is 9-0, and Tim Mazzetti will try and round it off to 10. The spot by John James. It's 10-0 Georgia.
Well, Vin, that's what the Rams did in the first game. Here it is. Here's Bartkowski, time to throw. Alfred Jenkins has him beaten badly. Good execution.
Nothing in favor of Atlanta, and on the sideline catching his breath, Alfred Jenkins, the lightest player in the NFL. He's about 155 pounds, and he had a string of 73 straight games with a pass completion, and he kept that alive just now.
Then when you defense a receiver like Alfred Jenkins, I always felt you had to stop him deep. I didn't care if he caught a dozen passes as long as he didn't catch the home run on me.
Well, we'll see now about Tim Mazzetti kicking. James Jones is the middleman, flanked by Steve Wilson and Timmy Newsom. And it'll be the Jones boy at the 10, to the 20, 25, 30, 35, down at about the 41. Earl Jones and Kenny Johnson finally bringing him down, and that's an interesting pairing because Kenny Johnson and James Jones were teammates at Mississippi State, playing against each other in a big one. Ray Strong is a special team star for Atlanta, but watch what happens sometimes. He is drilled by Jay Salty, the big tight end who knocked him right out from underneath his helmet.
Good blocking and hard running.
First and 10 on the Dallas 40 as the Cowboys tried to get going. Ron Springs is in there now. And in motion is Drew Pearson. Dorsett is blocking, and the pass to Springs no good. Dorsett was trying to block Glazebrook, who was coming in a dog, and he just did pick him up.
You know, Vin, actually, we've said this 2 or 3 times, but Dallas is going to try to do the same thing to the Falcon corners. Johnson can be beaten deep with Tony Hill. They're going to try to isolate Johnson or Lawrence and go deep one-on-one there. Both ball clubs have similar personalities.
Second and 10 on the 40-yard line with Ron Springs and Tony Dorsett behind Danny White. The back stayed in the block, but they're setting up a screen for Dorsett, and after a good block, he is tripped up at the 45. Robert Shaw threw a good block on Buddy Curry to let that play go, and finally Jeff Yates brought him down. But it was Shaw, the center, who made the block to give up the 5 yards.
I like this call. The Falcon defense is coming hard. Jeff Burrows has 8 sacks, putting pressure on. Throw a screen. Throw a screen to your best back. Tony Dorsett, you have a chance for a big play. Even if you don't, it cuts down the rush.
But here's the big play now. 3rd and 5 for Dallas on the Cowboy 45. Drew Pearson goes wide right. White with time, and he has his big tight end Dupree, and let's see where they spot his forward motion. Very close to a first down. He had to get just shy of the 50, and I would believe that's where they're going to spot it. They'll measure.
Then you said he had time, and the reason he had time is the Falcons just went with a 3-man rush. They have to rush at least 4 to put pressure on White.
They are now going to measure to see if Billy Joe picked up the first down or not. You know, when you run against Atlanta, it's a tough buy. They have held Walter Payton to 40 yards, and they picked up the first down by a couple of inches. They held Payton to 40. They held Sims to 21, and they held Cribbs of Buffalo to 31.
Well, as we mentioned, in the entire NFL, they rank third against the run.
There's Mike Ken
but they're 13th on the pass.
Ken with a scratched left arm in his battle with Harvey Martin, which should be an interesting one-on-one confrontation all day. Well, the Cowboys have it 1st and 10 at midfield, and they sell Drew Pearson to the left this time. They pitch back to Dorsett. He gives it to Drew Pearson on the end around, and Pearson to the 45, knocked down at about the 41. And George, at the start of the show, you said Landry was going to come up with a gadget play, and there it is.
Well, every time we played Dallas, whether it was a league game or a playoff game, he came up with something to counter whatever we did effectively. And that play that we just saw was to counter that great pursuit by the Falcon defense.
This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or the use of the telecast without the express written consent of the Atlanta Falcons and the National Football League is prohibited. Well, 2nd down and about 1 on the Atlanta 41, and Ron Springs is back in there for Dallas. And on a 2nd and 1, White is going to the air, down the middle, and in a crowd. Tony Hill makes the reception at the Atlanta 20-yard line.
Then in a crowd is exactly what it was. Danny White had the time to throw, and he had to throw a perfect pass to get it in there, or it's deflected or intercepted. Look at the time he has. 3-man rush again. 3-man rush. He picks Tony Hill out. The ball is thrown perfectly.
So this Cowboy scoring machine that was #1, they piled up 454 points during the regular season. They've been stung. They're trailing 10-0, and now they're on the move. 1st and 10 on the Atlanta 20. Dorsett is on the wing. Now comes back to join Ron Springs in the backfield. White looking left, now going deep over the middle. There's nobody there. He overshot Tony Hill, and look at all the red shirts around Hill.
There's Septian, a very good athlete. He's strong. I had him with the Rams. He's a good kicker. I'd give him an edge over Mazzetti in the kicking game.
You know, if they have a field goal attempt inside the 28-yard line, in his career, he's made 97% of those. So they're close to the scoreboard one way or the other.
Then on that last play, you said he was looking left. He was looking for Jay Saldy, but he was covered.
So it'll be 2nd and 10 on the Atlanta 20-yard line, and the Cowboys go slot right. White looking with Hill and Pearson on the right side, so he throws out of bounds on the left. He had Ron Springs and the tight end Billy Joe Dupre over there, and you had Joel Williams and Kenny Johnson defending for Atlanta. So it's a 3rd and 10.
Well, 3rd and 10. That last play they came with a blitz, a safety blitz, and he did the right thing, get rid of the ball. Now it's 3rd and 10. The Cowboys will probably go into the shotgun. I always wanted to have a man right over the nose of the center, Fitzgerald or whoever's in there at center, and bat him around and hope we got a bad snap. They got a man on his nose.
3rd and 10 on the 20. They have Mike Zeal in there on the nose of the center, Robert Shaw. And Danny White going down the middle in the end zone. Touchdown and drop. Butch Johnson had the ball knocked out by Kenny Johnson, and apparently Dallas thought he had it long enough.
You know, Vin, that's a judgment call down there, whether he had the ball long enough or not.
Let's take a look.
Butch Johnson's wide open. He has the time to throw. Perfect throw. Here it is, right in there.
And both feet apparently down, and then he lost the ball.
Here it is again. Here's from another angle.
Remember, in the end zone, or for that matter on the sidelines, you have to get both feet down while in possession, and it appeared as if he was. However, he had his back to us, and the official in the end zone was looking, and perhaps he never had possession.
Johnson knocked the ball. Johnson did a smart thing by going after the ball and knocking it loose.
So Septienne will be called upon for a field goal from the 28. Charlie Waters will be the holder. And the kick by Septienne is good. And Tom Landry still a little bit hot, I would think. Let's take one more look. Here's Danny White. First of all, he's getting protection, as you can see. Deep in the end zone, Butch Johnson and Kenny Johnson. There's Butch, 1 foot, 2 feet, and then the ball is stripped. possession. Now watch the ball, and just as Butch is turning, it begins to slip out, and down it goes. So he did not have possession, and Butch is still steaming. He caught 4 touchdowns during the year.
Then you did one of our games in St. Louis where
Never forget it.
Mel Gray had a touchdown, cost us the championship against Pat Fisher. They took a meeting, a confab for 5 minutes, and then they said, hey, we're giving them a touchdown. And the same referee is here that was there that game, Fred Silva.
That was back in 1975, George, and I'm sure you've never forgotten that date. Well, the big thing, as we said, with his back to us, you didn't know if he had possession, and he never had possession. No, so since he didn't have possession at all, the fact of 1 foot or 2 feet down in the end zone did not make any difference in that case.
Has nothing to do with it.
All right, Raphael Sepien kicking off at the 35. Deep is Mike Smith at the 4, to the 15, 20. And down at about the 22-yard line. Among others, Bill Rowe, the rookie, down there to nail him, along with Timmy Newsom and Dexter Clinkscale. A reminder, the NFL today, starting at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time next Sunday, and the NFC Championship. The Eagles know they've won. It's a question whether the Eagles are going to play at home or on the road. If Dallas wins today, the Eagles are at home. If Atlanta wins today, Philadelphia comes to Georgia.
I'm sure Dick Vermeil would rather play at home.
1st and 10 on the Atlanta 23. The tight end on the right side, and they're going to go that way, but Andrews is grabbed by too tall Jones, and that's that. Bob Bruni came in on the kill to drop him at the 20-yard line.
You know, Ben, they had 1 remaining back, Andrews, and he's lined up in the 3 spot or the fullback spot. I never felt that was a tough formation of defense. You just have 1 guy there. Actually, that's what Houston tried to do a little bit against Oakland last week. 1 remaining back never gave us problems.
Well, they ran him on the strong side with Junior Miller blocking, but they couldn't move too tall. Go to 2nd and 10 on the 23. Guy Brown is up now, the linebacker playing just outside of too tall Jones. Bartkowski going over the middle, and he has Wallace Francis at the 35, and he's down at the 38-yard line, picked up by Guy Brown. And as you can see, the Sands have run through the hourglass as far as the first quarter is concerned in Atlanta, Georgia. And they are just heating up at the end of the first quarter. The Atlanta Falcons 10, Dallas Cowboys 3. At the start of the second quarter in Atlanta, the Falcons leading 10-3. They have it 1st and 10 on their own 38-yard line. Alfred Jenkins goes left, and that's Wallace Francis in motion left. Stay in to block. The pass to Junior Miller, and the tight end is out across the 45-yard line. Dropped by Dennis Thurman at about the 47, and the tight end is going to be busy today.
Oh, he's a beauty. He was on the all-rookie team, and again, I'll repeat, he's like a 3rd wide receiver there, 6'4". He has excellent speed, runs well with the ball after the catch. What's taking place, then, is that this Falcon offensive line is countering Dallas's defensive line. Bartkowski has not been hurried or rushed yet.
That'll be 2nd and a long 2 with the ball on the Atlanta 47. The Falcons in a slot left. Bartkowski on a straight-ahead quick handoff, trying to get the first down with William Andrews, and the Cowboys very grudgingly not about to give him more than a yard. And from this angle, it would appear as if he didn't quite make it. Not yet.
You know, the reason the Falcons' offensive backs are not noted or haven't gotten the publicity, they're not spectacular. They're not the type of backs that would run 80 yards. They're pluggers, but they, as a tandem, they really do a job. Andrews starts like a track man. Maybe we'll see that later.
Kane has had 2 runs of better than 20. Andrews has had 10 runs of 20 or more to tie Earl Campbell, but as you mentioned, he doesn't ever really break that big one for you.
And he's averaged 4.9, which is only Dexter Bussey of Detroit in the NFC has a better yards per drive.
So as you see, they came up short on this 3rd down. They bring in 2 tight ends, Russ McKiska along with Junior Miller, James Mayberry on a wing on the right side, And he will go to Kane following Andrews' block, and then Kane has the first down at midfield. And as you said earlier, when you have Andrews as your fullback, that really helps Kane.
That's right. The same play, actually the play is what we used to call a 25M hunch. The fullback leads. Watch the line play on this. Watch the Falcon line come off and make that hole. Andrews neutralizes Bruni. Kane picks up the first down.
First and 10 at midfield. 10-3 Atlanta early in the second quarter. Back staying into block, and Bartkowski with some time over the middle, no good. Broken up by Guy Brown, who got one meat hook on it. It was intended for Alfred Jenkins. Bartkowski is now 5 for 11 for 114 yards. Danny White 4 for 11 for 36. But remember, Bartkowski hit the jackpot with a 60-yard touchdown pass to Alfred Jenkins.
And Finn, what he's doing is throwing on 1st and 10. That's the best time to throw against the Cowboys. Throw the ball 1st and 10. Now here comes Dallas in. They almost substitute a complete team. They send 4 men in on defense.
So 2nd and 10 at midfield. The Falcons are 2 for 2. The first time they got the ball, they wound up with a field goal. The second time they had it a touchdown. This is their 3rd series of possession. Bartkowski going to spring it off to William Andrews, and it hit Too Tall Jones' helmet, I believe, and that figures.
That was an afterthought. He wanted to go downfield to Junior Miller. Junior Miller was covered. He dumped it off. You know what the Cowboys are trying to do is get White, Randy White, one-on-one. They take Dutton out. They bring in Cole. Cole's a better pass rusher. Take all their linebackers out. Bring in extra defensive backs.
Larry Cole in his 25th playoff, establishing an NFL record. D.D. Lewis, number 50, will be in his 24th playoff. So they have some wise heads on that side of the line.
I like Cole. He can really play football, and he goes all out all the time.
3rd and 10 from midfield. Jackson goes wide left, but the Falcons have a slot on the right side. Bartkowski looking left, and a diving attempt, and the catch by Alfred Jackson is good for the first down. Inside the 40, a great diving catch by the kid they call Action Jackson.
This is the first time Bartkowski's rushed a little bit. He feels some pressure. Here's a diving catch of a low ball. Again, Ben, these Falcon receivers are underrated. Jackson, Jenkins, Miller, Francis.
Should have known they had something. He was Earl Campbell's best man. 1st and 10 on the Dallas 38. Andrews staying into block Too Tall Jones, and the pass is no good. Intended for Wallace Francis. A good defensive play by Steve Wilson.
Yeah.
And Wilson, only 2 years from Howard. He's the son, if you have that kind of a memory, of touchdown Tommy Wilson, who played in the Pro Bowl. He was a running back with the Rams, the Vikings, and the Browns in the late 50s and 60s. Here's a chip off the old block.
Doing a good job. Then, again, Bartkowski throwing on 1st and 10. Good protection. The Cowboys are going to have to put more pressure on him, or he's going to be successful.
2nd and 10 on the 38. Francis wide right, and Jenkins goes left. Kane and Andrews behind Bartkowski. And this time it's Andrews. Hit, staggered, on his feet, runs around Ed Jones, and the second time around, Too Tall gets him.
Well, very seldom do you see William Andrews hit for a loss.
Alfred Jackson on the sideline coming in with a play. And a reminder that Ed Too Tall Jones is playing with a severely sprained big toe.
Yes.
And yet he was still able to stay with Andrews and bring him down.
Very good point, Vin. He deserves a lot of credit. Last week, he played with a painful injury, and the Cowboys need him. He's a vital part of that defense.
So it is 3rd and 18 on the 46. Alfred Jackson, who just brought into play, comes left, and the tight end is on the left side. But they have 3 receivers. And now Bartkowski said, wait a minute, this formation isn't quite right.
Right.
And he's going to have to waste a timeout and talk to Lehman Bennett.
They lined up in a formation that he didn't expect or didn't want. He did the smart thing by calling a timeout.
It was like a double wingback out of the team. 3rd and 18, punter A reminder, and when you talk about inside the 20, that means the number of kicks opponents fail to return to their 20-yard line. It does not necessarily have to be out-of-bounds kicks. So he's quite a weapon. 3rd and 18 on the 46-yard line at Dallas. Atlanta leading 10-3. Slot right, and in a close set behind Bartkowski. The back staying in. Harvey Martin knocks the ball loose, and Anthony Dickerson recovered it for Dallas. Anthony Dickerson, who had a hip pointer, and we didn't even know if he was going to be able to play, falls on the fumble. A big save for Dickerson, who last year, believe it or not, was an airport clerk at L.A. Airport.
Boy, quite a move. They overloaded the weak side, and Harvey Martin comes around. 78, King jars the ball loose. Big play for Dallas.
To beat Mike Ken from the outside to force the fumble.
And the reason he was outside, Vin, is they were in an undershift, and the weak side end gets wider. The offensive tackle can't get his hands on him, and he beat him to the outside. Big play. That's the first pressure they put on him today.
So Martin forces the fumble. Anthony Dickerson recovers it, and Dallas takes over. 1st and 10 on the Atlanta 45. Drew Pearson wide right. Dorsett and Newhouse are behind Danny White. Jay Saldy is on a wing in a double tight end. White on a bootleg is now going to throw, and it's to Billy Joe Dupre and down to the 25-yard line. So they had both Saldy and Dupre in there, and I guess, George, the normal tendency is to think that they would pass to Saldy.
Right. Saldy has more speed. Dupre's a good blocker. But Dallas has made a living on this play for years. It's a bootleg. With Roger Staubach, he'd run the ball as much as he'd pass it, and Dupree comes underneath from one zone to another. Heck of a call.
Well, they picked up 20 yards on that pass. Danny White is 5 for 12 for 55 yards. He has it 1st and 10 on the Atlanta 25. Tony Hill wide left and Drew Pearson right, and Dupre in a wingback position now, shaken loose and goes in motion. Tony Dorsett trying to get outside, and along with Al Richardson, and Richardson forcing it and making the tackle.
Ben, we can't see it, but there's some of it right there. The whole defensive team was over there by Dorsett. All 11 players.
Al Richardson is another one of the storied linebackers down here. Al went to Georgia Tech. He had 7 interceptions this year, and the record for interceptions by a linebacker in the NFL is 8.
That's fantastic. And 7 interceptions.
He never had an interception in high school or college.
Well, he's in the right position. They use him in a walkaway.
2nd and 9 on the 24. Robert Shaw, the center. Danny White to Tony Dorsett. Big hole, and Dorsett is outside the 20, and Kenny Johnson will ride him out of bounds at about the 16-yard line. Robert Newhouse blocking for Tony Dorsett.
Well, they need a big game by Dorsett to take the pressure. Here it is. It's a strong side sweep. Good blocking at the point of attack, and a nice move by Dorsett. He faked in, Vin. There it is. That's Newhouse
on
blocking.
Bob Glazebrook.
Right. And now Kenny Johnson tackles him high
and kept him away from the first down. It's 3rd and 1 on the 16. And Dallas now is asking for a timeout. So we have 10 minutes and 15 seconds to the half, with Atlanta leading Dallas 10-3. The half, Vin Scully along with George Allen. The Cowboys trying to capitalize on a Bartkowski fumble. They have a 3rd and 1 on the Atlanta 16. Saldy again on a wing outside Dupre on the right side. And White straight ahead. And it would appear as if he picked up the first down at the 15-yard line.
Good call, Vin. You got inches to go. It's the safest play. Straight ahead. White's a good, strong, good-sized quarterback. Pick up the first down. White take a chance, handle it off, and maybe have a fumble or get a loss. Somebody slips through the seam, and now you have to kick a field goal.
So 1st and 10, and he actually moved the ball just over the 15, so they'll spot it at the 14-yard line. And the Cowboys have a slot right. Tony Hill and Drew Pearson go right. White giving it to Dorsett, and Dorsett is knocked down at just about the line of scrimmage, a 14-yard line.
Well, Ben, you know, we said at the top of the show that Dorsett had to run. The Cowboys had to run effectively to take the pressure off of White so he could throw. This Falcon defense so far has shut off the run completely. They haven't done anything running.
Those men up front for Atlanta who played in the '78 playoffs, Yates, Merrow, Kuykendall, and then in the secondary, Lawrence and Pridemore. Otherwise, a very young ball club. So 2nd and 10 on the 14. Dupree, the tight end, on the left side. And White, a little screen to Ron Springs, and he's to the 5-yard line. And if he moved it across to the 4, he might pick up a 1st and goal. It just depends on where they spot it.
Ben, that's a good call. Real good call. They're expecting pass. He dumps it off a screen. Here it is.
On that screen this year, Springs went 58 yards for a touchdown against the Giants. Same kind of play.
He's a good athlete. Good blocking downfield. This is a good area to field to run a screen. Many times you can go all the way into the end zone. They're measuring. It looks like it's short.
Not quite for a goal situation.
Here comes Newhouse in.
That's how much. So it is a 3rd down play now that they've spotted the ball. 3rd and inches on the Atlanta 4. Back is Dorsett. Now shifting out of the eye with Saldi and Dupre. The 2 tight ends are on the right side. Let's see if they go that way. Play action fake and a roll to the right by White. And he's going to throw it to Billy Joe. And did he break the plane? He did. Touchdown for Dallas.
Boy, oh boy.
So Billy Joe, who has caught 8 touchdowns this year, 3 of them from 9 yards out, 2 from 12. This time makes 1 from 4.
They use motion coming back to fake a run. He runs a bootleg. Very fortunate to get this off. Curry overran the play. Curry had him covered. The ball was thrown behind Dupree, so by coming back for it, he lost his position.
Tom Pridemore tried to come up and keep him out, but the big tight end was able to break the plane and go in for the touchdown. Now we'll see about the tying point. Septien out of the hole by Charlie Waters. It is good. Septien this year at one time kicked 78 straight and then had it broken by Oakland. Let's take a look at that rollout touchdown pass to Detroit.
They have a running play off of that where the motion man comes back in. It looks like he's going to get hit for a loss. He puts it up.
The Dallas Cowboys capitalizing on a fumble by Bartkowski after being hit by Harvey Martin, recovered by Dickerson, go for a touchdown to tie it up. And now the kick to Mike Smith at the 4, to the 15, to the 25, 30, to the 40, dragged down by Larry Bethea at the last minute, or he's gone.
Great field position for Bartkowski.
The rookie out of Grambling, Mike Smith, makes a great return. And Atlanta now in excellent field position, and a Dallas player is hurt.
There it is. Mike Smith, a 7th-round draft choice. Look at the hole he has.
The Dallas player who is hurt, they just signed him, Norm Wells.
Activated in place of Randy Hughes.
Number 66, you can see him in the lower left-hand corner of your screen, just beginning to roll over on his back in pain. So Norm Wells, who went to school at Northwestern.
You know, Ben, you mentioned the word fumble before. Atlanta had lost the ball just 9 times on fumbles this year, the entire year, and they had a turnover ratio of +16, which was the best in the NFL.
And of course, it is typical that when you give a good team a break, they cash it in. At halftime, reminder, Brent Irvin Phillips will be with us. And then, of course, we'll get back to this thing, which is just really starting to bubble. 10-10 with 7 minutes and 57 seconds left in the half. And so Norm Wells shaken up. He was activated by Tom Landry with the injury of Mike Hegman. And now Wells is hurt on a kickoff return.
Well, you know, we've talked about Atlanta's young ball club. The Cowboys have 8 rookies, and they have 16 other players with 3 years or less experience. So they're a young club also.
A 39-yard return by Mike Smith, and it's 1st and 10 on the Atlanta 43. In a slot right. And they go straight ahead to Lynn Kane, and he's across the 45 to about the 46-yard line.
Well, that's what Atlanta likes to do. Atlanta likes to establish something on the ground on 1st and 10 and then set up the play action. That's what Bartkowski has done so successfully all year.
You know, when you see an Atlanta ball game, and we've done a couple, you expect it to be an exciting game.
Yes.
Dallas, of course, has a history of playing great games. Atlanta had to come from behind in 10 of their 12 victories. And they're even 10-10 here. 2nd and 7 on the 46. Wallace Francis in motion, picked up by Aaron Mitchell. The backs release, and the pass is to Francis, and Mitchell finally brings him down at the 49-yard line. So once again, they put Francis in motion. Mitchell picks him up. They isolate him one-on-one, and they go to Francis.
That's the whole thinking. Here's Wallace Francis in motion, 89. See him going through the backfield. Now he turns upfield and runs what we call a shoot pattern, about 5 yards deep. Makes a one-on-one situation. Mitchell has to cover.
So for Bartkowski, as Mayberry and McKeeska come in, Francis and Jenkins come out. It's a 3rd and 2 on the Dallas 49. A 2 tight end, and Mayberry, a blocking back, is on the wing. And they'll go that way. Lynn Kane trying to cut. And again, the question of the forward progress. Might have to measure. George, any surprises? It seems like most of the things you talked about at the top of the show have come about.
Yes, actually, Dallas is fortunate that it's 10-10 because Atlanta missed a touchdown pass. They could have had 14 points.
Of course, Dallas feels, I'm sure in their hearts, they think Butch Johnson had a touchdown pass.
Yeah, true, man. That was a judgment call. That could have gone either way. We said these teams are a toss-up, and it's showing that. So far, they're dead even. The Cowboys' experience in playoffs and big games,
they're going to have to measure. It is so close.
Might give them the edge.
You talk about the home field advantage. It might be interesting to point out that in the playoffs, the Cowboys have a better playoff record on the road than they do in Texas.
That's interesting. Well, that shows good coaching, good players, good unity. You know, a good team can win anywhere.
You saw Ernie Staudner talking to one of the members of the chain gang, and now you can see that Lynn Kane was not able to pick up the 1st down.
Ernie Staudner usually wears a different color jacket because he sends the signals in, and they don't have a confusion on it, all wearing the same blue jacket on the sideline.
So here's John James, who went to school at Florida, didn't play football until his senior year when he answered the plea of his coach, and he has been marvelous. 4th and 1 on the 48. James has run the ball once this year. He ran 13 yards against New Orleans. First time he ran with the ball in 9 years. Low snap, but he got it away. And a fair catch is called for James Jones at the 15-yard line.
I think they may have been trying to draw him offside then. They had a long count, and the snap was low.
Seconds to the half, all even at 10-10. The single key play for Dallas, the recovery of the Bartkowski fumble when Steve was hit by Harvey Martin, and they cashed it in. Atlanta's touchdown, a 60-yard pass to Alfred Jenkins. Each side trading field goals. And now it's 1st and 10 on the Dallas 15. Dorsett is the deep back. Timmy Newsom is in there to block, and Dorsett, cutting from the block, is stacked up at about the 20. George, when you look at Tony Dorsett, when he's the deep back out of the eye, sometimes I get the feeling that he is deeper behind the fullback than most.
Yeah, well, usually you want your tailback a little bit deeper, but that's a good point, Vin, you made, because sometimes when he is a little extra deep, he's getting the ball. They flip it to him. Another thing on Dorsett, I've never seen him run better than he did last week against the Rams. He ran hard. When he got bounced around, he ran even harder.
So 2nd and 5 on the 20-yard line. Wallen Lawrence comes up to pick up Tony Hill. But on a little handoff to Newhouse, they stack him up. There wasn't much foolery on that play.
No, they had a little motion, but that didn't bother them. Tackling Newhouse is like tackling a fire hydrant. He's so low, and again has so powerful legs, you have to try to get underneath him. He's a good football player. Not spectacular, but good.
You know, he's had a hairline fracture in each leg in the last 2 years, and yet Robert Newhouse is the #3 Cowboy rusher of all time, behind Don Perkins and Calvin Hill. 3rd and about 3 on the 22. Ron Springs is in there with Dorsett. The pass is to Dorsett, and he can't hold it. Wallen Lawrence came up to lower the boom on him just in case, and I think Dorsett might have heard some footsteps.
And the other thing he did, then he jumped for the ball. He didn't have to jump for it. The ball was right in his hands, and he jumped for it. And when you jump for a ball, sometimes the relationship of your hands and the ball don't mesh. That was a first down. That was a good call also. He only needed a few yards. Hit the weak back on a stop pattern.
So Danny White ready to punt. Kenny Johnson is standing back on the Atlanta 40-yard line. Slightly high snap from center, but White got it away. And it's Johnson just shy of midfield, and he is buried by Anthony Dickerson. And it was Dickerson, remember, who recovered the fumble. He's quite a kid.
Yes, a hungry free agent.
Rookie out of SMU, who is playing with a hip pointer. He was questionable in the middle of the week. There is a flag on the play, personal foul and a clip.
Well,
against Atlanta.
There's more penalties than on the kicking game. Nearly every kick, there's some penalty. You know, I was just going to say, from that area of the field, he had the ball in the 49-yard line. That's where Steve Bartkowski likes to go deep for the home run. Now, whether he will from here, that's something else. But when he gets at midfield, he likes to fake the ball to Andrews.
Number 51, personal foul, clipping.
Fake the ball to Andrews and go deep.
So instead of having the ball on the 49, it goes back to the 34, and that's where Atlanta will put it in play. 1st and 10. The Falcons led 10-3 at the end of the quarter, and the Cowboys have scored the only points in the 2nd quarter to even it up, and we have 4:15 to the half. Bartkowski with Andrews staying in to block, and he's going deep in double coverage. No good. Did he catch it? Yes. I can't believe he caught it.
Oh. Just what I said. He likes to go deep on first down from that area of the field.
Take another look. Well, Aaron Mitchell and Dennis Thurman were all over him, and somehow he caught it.
Double coverage. But he played the ball. He played the ball. They played the man. 58 yards. Jay.
You know, I almost thought the ball hit Aaron Mitchell in the chest.
Jenkins played the ball all the way. That ball should have been broken up.
So from the Atlanta 34 to the Dallas 17 on that pass to Alfred Jenkins. Here comes Lynn Kane trying to get inside Warren Bryant's block. And they stack him at about the 15-yard line.
You know, Ben, I don't know whether you said it, you may have, but Len Kane had 914 yards. That's tremendous. And this is a guy that's the second back in the backfield. That's why they're such a fine tandem. They both can run, they both can block.
There's a story. Alfred Jenkins, 155 pounds, caught a 60-yard touchdown pass for a score, and just handled a pass on double coverage and took it away from Mitchell and Thurman to put it 1st and 10 on the Dallas 17. Now it is 2nd down and 8 on about the 14-yard line. Bartkowski looking left, throwing in a hurry. He's got Junior Miller. And Miller is going out of bounds inside the 1-yard line.
Ben, Junior Miller, watch Junior Miller on a drag pattern. Good protection. Junior Miller adds a dimension to this pass offense. Coming back a little bit, the ball showing behind him. Knocked out of bounds, almost scored.
So 1st and goal for Atlanta. The ball is a foot from the goal line. Lynn Kane is the deep back behind William Andrews. Lynn Kane trying to follow Andrews.
There's a flag.
Flag on the play.
The same play then we talked about. Fullback lead. Kane carried the ball.
Offside, Dallas. It's refused. Touchdown, Atlanta.
Here it is. The same play they used 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. This is the reason why Kane has 8 touchdowns. This is his 9th. Andrews blocking. He's following the fullback right in there.
Encroacher. Refused.
William Andrews throwing the big block on Bob Brunig to open up the hole for Lynn Kane. With 2 minutes and 26 seconds for the half, it is 16-10 Atlanta, and Mazzetti trying to make it 17. And he does. On the sideline, there is Lynn Kane scoring the touchdown thanks to that key block by William Andrews on Bob Brunig after the miraculous catch by Alfred Jenkins.
Man-for-man blocking along the line. Fullback leads through, picks up any stray tacklers. 2 hands on the football.
You know, Alfred Jenkins has caught 2 passes today for 110 yards.
There it is again. I like the way Kane has 2 hands on that ball. He's not going to fumble it. You know, earlier I said if I were defensive Alfred Jenkins, I wouldn't care if he caught 12 passes as long as he didn't catch any home runs. You have to stop him deep, and Bartkowski did the same thing he would have done if he didn't get that clipping penalty then. He went for the bomb, and that's what he's going to try to do the rest of the ball game, isolate and get 1-on-1. There he had 2-on-1, and they still didn't play the play.
Dennis Thurman and Aaron Mitchell, and yet Alfred Jenkins took it away from him. Bartkowski is now 9 for 17 in this first half with 2:26 left. Bartkowski has passed for 194 yards. Of course, 110 of those yards on 2 of the passes to Alfred Jenkins. Standing deep, James Jones, flanked by Timmy Newsom on his right and Steve Wilson on his left. And Tim Mazzetti ready to kick off for Atlanta. Jones will be blocking for Newsom, who takes it at the 8. He's to the 20. Timmy is hit by Kenny Johnson. Flag on the play. And let's hold everything. Take a look at the flag. Ray Strong was pointing over at the Cowboys. We'll see if Ray is involved. There's Ray Strong. Now see if a foul is in. That's 57. Bruce Huther, who hooked him.
Yeah.
And the penalty
almost had
against Dallas.
A takedown, Ben.
Yep. Silva will
on the run back, number 57, holding. First down.
So Bruce Huther guilty of holding Ray Strong, as you saw, and it is 1st and 10 Dallas on the Cowboy 12. Cowboys sent Tony Hill, Drew Pearson left. Billy Joe Dupree shaking loose wide right, but comes back as a tight end. Drew Pearson, picked up by Bob Glazebrook. And it'll be Robert Newhouse, upended at the 15. And boy, they are hitting down there now.
They are. Well, they're a bunch of hitters. Those young linebackers are a pleasure to watch. You have to be able to run the ball. You have to have enough confidence in your running game to affect
the National Football League. The 2-minute warning. Among other things, in the last 2 minutes, remember, during a regular portion of the game, a fumble can only be advanced on 4th down by the man who fumbled it. But in the 2-minute warning, on every down, a fumble can only be advanced by the fumbler. Just one of the many rule changes in the final 2 minutes. 2nd and 6 for the Cowboys at the 16-yard line. White from the shotgun. Little lob screen to Preston Pearson, and he's belted at the 14-yard line.
Well, they were waiting for that, Ben. They were waiting for that when they went with a 3-man rush.
And the man who did it was Robert Pennywell, that name right out of Dickens.
He's standing right there. That's his key. He has nothing to do but watch Preston Pearson, 26, come up and make the play. Dallas only has 2 timeouts left.
Herb Scott threw a good block, but it didn't faze Pennywell. White throwing down the left side to Tony Hill, and he goes out of bounds at the 27, and that's good enough for the first down, stopping the clock with 1:32. Danny White's numbers up to here. He has passed 17 times and completed 9.
Well, the big thing here, Ben, defensively is you don't want to give up the home run. You'll give up a few first downs and even let them in field goal range, but you don't want to give up the big play to Tony Hill or Drew Pearson.
Well, Drew Pearson is coming to the right, and Tony Hill goes wide left. Richardson is almost up on the line to try and jam Hill on the left side. White going to release to Preston Pearson. Bob Blaisdell drops him at the 30-yard line. Kuykendall and Curry there along with Joel Williams.
You know, Preston Pearson then really reads the coverage or reads the man that's covering him. He runs individual routes about as good as anybody out of the backfield.
And Preston and Fulton Kuykendall exchanged a few words. White going down the middle, no good. Intended for Jay Saldy, and he had his legs cut out from under him by Tom Pridemore.
Well, Pridemore hit him just as the ball reached Saldy's hands. Here it is, shotgun. Now he has pretty good protection. Time to throw. 4-man rush. Now watch Pridemore hit Saldy just as he tries to put the ball away.
We have 1 minute and 1 seconds left to the half. Tom Landry checking the clock. Each side with 2 timeouts remaining. Atlanta leading 17-10. Pearson and Butch Johnson come right. Dorsett is back there with Preston Pearson, and Tony is going to stay in the block and then release. And looked like they were going to set up a screen. Now White's going to run. Now he decides to throw, and the catch is made by Butch Johnson at about the 45 with a flag on the play.
Well, I think White may have been over the line. He may have crossed the line of scrimmage.
It looked like he was thinking screen to Dorsett at first.
Or somebody downfield, because he had a lot of time to throw, Ben, and the reason was they went with a 3-man rush. That gave him the extra time.
So Fred Silva will march it off against Dallas. 52 seconds left in the half.
Offense, number 67. Illegally downfield.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Still 3rd down.
And that's Pat Donovan. A reminder at halftime with Phyllis and Brent, Terry Bradshaw, and Roger Staubach.
The reason for Ben, the reason for Donovan being downfield, he had so much time to throw that Donovan figured the play was over.
Well, it is still 3rd down and about 17. And Preston Pearson, grabbed by Kuykendall, gets out across the 30-yard line, but Fulton Kuykendall dropped him. The clock is still running, and now timeout. Atlanta with 42 seconds, and the crowd giving the defensive unit of the Falcons, led by Kuykendall, a standing ovation.
Well, the Falcons did the smart thing on defense. Take a timeout. You can either go for a block punt here or for the return, and you still got time to get in position.
So it is a 4th and 10 for Danny White and Dallas. Atlanta now with 1 timeout left, and Dallas has 2. And we have 42 seconds to the half. Denny standing on the Atlanta 35. Danny White standing on the 15 for the snap by Rafferty, and he got it away. Down there is Benny Barnes to cover it inside the 35, and is finally down by Anthony Dickerson at the 34-yard line. Don't forget the NFL on CBS next Sunday. It'll be the championship game, Philadelphia versus the winner of our game. To repeat, if Dallas should win as the wild card team, they cannot host, so they would go to Philadelphia. If Atlanta wins, they would host Philadelphia here in Georgia next Sunday.
The Falcons went for a punt block on that last kick, Ben.
1st and 10 on the Atlanta 34. To block, but Bartkowski with time goes deep in and out of the hands of Alfred Jackson, with Barnes and Mitchell over there to defend.
Well, you used the word time, and again, the reason Dallas went with a 3-man rush, the Falcons kept in 6 blockers, so you got 2 men on every rusher.
So it is 2nd and 10. We have 24 seconds to the half. The ball on the Atlanta 34.
Again, he likes the home runs in this situation. He'll send Jackson or Jenkins deep on a fly pattern.
He had 31 touchdown passes during the regular year, did Bartkowski, and he's had 2 big bombs today. And there he goes, completing the pass inside the 45-yard line to Alfred Jenkins. So Jenkins has caught 3.
If they give him that time, he's going to burn them. They got to put more pressure on him. They can't.
Texas, Jackson, and Jenkins all on the left side. Boy, that's like a 60-yard dash lined up on the left. Bartkowski is going to go, and it's picked off by Steve Wilson at the 28, and Wallace Francis falls on him right there.
Nice play by Steve Wilson.
He had 4 interceptions during the regular season, and Wilson stops Atlanta cold with that interception.
And again, Bartkowski, there's the insert, is throwing to the one-on-one coverage. The ball was underthrown, a little bit underthrown. Steve Wilson made a good play, but he's picking the right receiver to throw to it. If he overthrows that pass, the ball's not intercepted. The receiver has a chance to get it.
They'll spot the ball on the Dallas 29. So the Cowboys have 7 seconds. They have 2 timeouts, and Atlanta leads 17 to 10. 1st and 10 from the 29, and a lot of movement. So let's see. Danny White went down with the ball as the clock ran out.